Hello everyone, welcome to our Friday Live. Thank you so much for joining our session. So our session today is part of our 1 month long Racing Boys campaign where we look at different aspects of bringing up boys. So today we'll be looking at the role that schools play in raising empowered and empathetic boys. So our guest for today is Ms. Alka Kapur, Principal of Modern Public School in Delhi. With a career span of 32 years in educational research, she is among the top 50 edu leaders in the nation today. An experienced educationist, Ms. Alka is also the president of the Delhi Sahodaya School Complex. She is an executive committee member of the Forum of Public Schools in India. We're very fortunate that she could join us today and spend some time talking to us about this very important topic. So, welcome, ma'am. Welcome to our session today.
Thank you, Vani. Thank you for having me over.
Indeed, it's absolutely our pleasure to have you. So, ma'am, like I was saying, we were talking about racing boys. It's a month-long campaign that ParentCircle has been running to sort of help parents understand how you can raise empowered and empathetic boy.
Gender stereotyping, as we are talking about, it should end at preschool level itself to ensure that children are not gender biased when they grow up. Uh, Parents and teachers, they have a major role to play. So they should have equal expectations from the boys and girls by providing them equal attention and equal opportunities, I should say. Teachers should use stories, and like mothers, at bedtime, even grandparents, it's the entire community, that works together in raising a child the way he is. You'll see many boys, you'll see, and people call them, oh, that boy is really sissy. And then there are girls, you'll say, oh, she's tomboyish. Why? Because they got the environment the way they are. So our children grow up to be the way we want them to grow up. Mothers and teachers in their vocabulary use, why are you crying like a girl? Does it mean that only girls have emotions and the boys don't have emotions? Then there will be, mothers or relatives who will bring dolls for a girl and maybe guns or scooters or bikes or cars for a boy. I am now raising a 5-year-old girl. I don't do that gender bias. Even the color scheme, the color choice that the children will wear the clothes, or the room is going to be in blue or pink, is again a stereotype which needs to be broken. So I think uh, each child should be given a special role as a human, not just as a man or a woman, a boy or a girl. And I think we should expose them to all opportunities that could be opened out for any individual, be it a boy or a girl. And I feel a gender sensitive environment should be incorporated around them.
Absolutely, ma'am. I mean, you've touched upon a lot of different points, I think, relating to gender stereotyping that children face.
Yeah.
So, all around the world now, there's a lot of talk about breaking gender stereotypes, and, there are a lot of schools abroad that are now teaching children, teaching boys how to cook and teaching girls to do carpentry, and then in that way breaking gender stereotypes. So do you think that is something that would help, and maybe it's something maybe our schools should be doing, or are you already doing programs like that
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
help?
I'm doing a lot on it at personal and professional levels. As I told you, with my boys, they are expected to do everything that I am doing, or the ladies of the house are doing. So I think I bring it from home to school, and I also take sessions with parents and counsel them to do to encourage, mixed gender play, as in not discriminate between a boy and a girl. I think our community at in urban cities, I think we have achieved quite a lot, and it does certainly come with education. So that's what schools are trying to do. They are trying to educate people, and slowly and gradually, I do see that change coming. I remember in one of the orientation sessions, I did pose a quiz to them that a father and the son were traveling, and they met with an accident, and the son had to be operated upon. So the doctor comes out and says, I'm sorry, I can't operate because this boy is my son. So immediately the question was, वो कैसे कह सकते हैं, उनका तो एक्सीडेंट हुआ था बेटे के साथ. So they did not come out or realize or accept the fact that even the mother could be the doctor. So, generally, khana banana hai, so the girls have to do it, and the boys are meant for the offices. So, I am encouraging them not to come out with these stereotypes. Even in my schools, the toilets don't have a pink and a blue outside them. They are very, very neutral colors, which says boys and girls. And parents and educators certainly can join hands and create opportunities for kids to interact with children of different age groups. In many many schools, I see this row is for the boys and this row is for girls. So I the teachers certainly need to have a very very clever eye on the children, stop segregating children by the gender. Even when it comes to sports, the sports teams, like football is for boys, cricket is for boys, and certain games are kho and skipping is for girls. I think we should stop doing all that. And when I even don't do judo and karate is for the safety of the girls. I say judo and karate is for the safety of an individual. So stop talking boys, boys, girls, girls, boys, boys, girls, girls, and start talking to them as humans, as individuals. And I think all gender activities around them should help them recognize their similarities and celebrate their differences.
Indeed, and I think ma'am, you're right in saying you celebrate their differences and treat them as as equals. That is really important. So, ma'am, like you said, a lot of these gender stereotypes they begin at home. They probably start with us parents. So you interact with a lot of parents in your career of 35 years. So do you feel that there is a shift happening now, that now things are not as bad as it used to be many years ago?
Most certainly around me in urban cities, particularly, I would say, but then I see in movies and I talk to people in rural areas. There, I think education does it all. If you have to change the fate of a community, society, I think we need to educate people. And around me, I do see a lot of changes coming up to an extent. Mm, I think people have started accepting girls into their life, which earlier they thought was, beta hua hai to laddu bato. Like, for example, when my granddaughter was born, I will give so many examples out of my personal life and around people around me. So we celebrated her the way in earlier times people used to celebrate boys, because I have become a granddaughter to a child, not to a girl or a boy. I've become a grandmother. So I've become a parent. So I've become a teacher to a child. I always say, I have 2,600 children in my school. I don't say I have 1,500 girls and, 1,100 boys. That's not we refer to. So it's very important to accept them as individuals and give them opportunities which they like, which are according to their interests, and allow them to bloom.
Definitely, ma'am. Ma'am, so earlier you mentioned how boys are often told that boys shouldn't cry. So that is a concern now, because a lot of boys, they don't get to express their feelings as easily as girls do, perhaps, because they're told that, having feelings, it's not manly, you have to be strong and all of that. So in your experience, what can really help boys in learning to express their emotions? What can parents do? What can teachers do for this?
I think it should start, as I said, from preschool level. Don't label them as boys or girls, and never. We have to be very selective in our words, as in not saying ki boys don't cry. If they have emotions, let the emotions overflow the way they have to. So I think I have the best chefs that I've seen across the world are the men. So that again goes to say that cooking is not just for the women. So to get them become stronger, give them opportunities to do jobs that interest them, even if uh, it is generally considered a job for the girls or for the ladies, and allow them to become epitomes of excellence, uh, and allow them to do all the chores that the girls are doing, and make them understand that they should be doing what they love to do, and they shouldn't be embarrassed of doing anything. We are all equals in society. Any education, any change that has to start from the junior level, the preschool level, and society should be educated not to ridicule a person's choice, a person's taste, and allow the children to live the way they want to live. Of course, little tweaking, chiseling their rough ends is something we can do as individuals, but not as boys and girls.
Definitely, ma'am. So, ma'am, coming to teenagers. I mean, and that's the age when they go through a lot of changes in their body and hormones, and um, it's a time where it's important to have open conversations with them, to tell them about consent and make them understand a lot of things that are happening to their bodies. Ma'am, how do we have these conversations? A lot of parents find it very hard to talk openly to children about it. So, how can we sort of educate them on this?
So, children are certainly inquisitive about knowing certain things. So, teaching children about how to avoid or protect themselves from sexual abuse is an urgent need, and that is where the POXO acts come in with full force, full thrust in every school. So, that gives us almost, a lot of responsibility that is certainly a lot of responsibility on part of every teacher of the school, not just every teacher of the school, every individual of the society. Sexuality education prepares children to protect themselves from bullying and sexual abuse. So in the curriculum we have incorporated all that, and in our own soft ways, without any embarrassment, because earlier, we used to, when we were children, in a biology class, when the reproduction or anything used to come up, there was some naughtiness happening in the class, and murmuring started. But I think now it's something very, very normal, because children have gone beyond that, and that is the where we've been successful in creating. Earlier, when a sanitary pad had to be purchased, it used to come in those black wrappers, and the men of the family shouldn't know. I have seen that change happening, that the girls are freely telling their fathers, their brothers, to go and get sanitary pads from them. So sexual education is helping. We have to teach the children uh, that they should learn to love and accept their bodies, and it's their right to avoid and resist unwanted touch, and it's their also right to protect themselves. Mm, I think it's their right to have personal safety. So, sexual education helps them in understanding as I said, what menstruation is, what their sexual desires are, what their sexual orientation should be. To an extent, I have open houses with the open house sessions. That is a session with the school principal, which is not judged, which is not recorded, which is not evaluated. So it's during that session, children can come up with anything and everything, and I address their queries. And when I don't judge them, when we don't repeat what they say, I think it gives them a confidence to come out and talk to us. Even as parents, I want all parents to understand and to know that when your children start hiding things from you, please understand that sometimes when they must have come out with some truth about what they did, or some confession about what they did which was not approved by you, a parent had been very, very nasty. And that is what compels a child to hide. So, whenever, no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent, your child comes up and confesses before you, please accept it gracefully. At that particular time, don't snub the child, look for an appropriate time, and then guide the child. There are different ways of guiding. It could be through a story play, it could be through a movie, anything. But don't snub a child, because that will, mm, I think, create boundaries between a parent, a teacher, and a child. And the child may go into the wrong hands, or go to the wrong people to seek the advice, which may not be very healthy or in the interest of the child in the longer run. If we try to hide certain things, it creates curiosity amongst the children, and they really want to delve and dive deeper into it. And maybe in that deep diving, they come up with certain information. They could Google it, they could do whatever information these days they'll get, because they are digital natives and they very well know how to get the right information. But that right information, because Google, when it comes to seeking information from Google or maybe from a friend, they talk about everything, the pros, the cons, everything. So maybe we would like to be a little smarter, maybe tweak certain things in the interest of children. And only if they come to the right person, that is the parent, the teacher, I think that should be encouraged.
Absolutely. Ma'am, you mentioned the use of internet and how children spend a lot of time online these days. So I think there is a fine balance for parents to do here, because on one hand, with teenagers, you do want to give them some privacy. But on the other, you also want to sort of make sure that they're safe, because, there are a lot of cyber crimes these days as well. So how do you balance both of these things?
See, as it is, too much of gadgets navigation is not really good for any one of us. But now, due to COVID, we are compelled to be online most of the time. And certainly, these days with artificial intelligence, the moment you open your mobile in the morning, different kinds of messages are coming. The moment it gets sunset, different kinds of messages start popping in, and children are curious to uh, go into them. So I think parents need to be with their children, spend more time with the child, and very, very deftly, without irritating the child, monitor the movements of the child. And of course, talk to the child about cyber security, because I have seen so many children falling prey to wrong in the hands of wrong people and in the hand of wrong portals. So I feel parents have to be very, very vigilant, very wise, very gentle, very kind, very loving in handling these children, and kind of be friends within the boundaries for sure, and monitor what the children are doing, and also talk to them. And teachers are also trying to do their bit. We cannot take away gadgets from them. It's ruled out. They have to be there. But the thing is, we have to educate them. That's what we can do. Educate them to be wise enough, when it comes to handling the gadgets.
Absolutely. You're right, ma'am, and you've shared some useful tips for parents as well. Ma'am, so I think we've covered all the topics that we wanted to speak to you with. Yes, so before we close, is there anything that you would like to tell parents before we close, or any message that you want to give to parents?
The only thing is that be the best parent to your child. Be, as I said, loving, caring, and respect boys not because they are boys. Respect them because they are your children. They are the future of the society and the nation, and raise them in a way that society and you become proud of them. And don't keep so too many expectations with them. The first expectation should be to see your child be a happy child, because um, having a boy in place of a girl, if I've seen so many people craving for a boy and so many people craving for a girl, so don't think like that. Children can be your they are your assets, most valuable assets. And treat them as individuals, and ensure that the life you are giving them or contributing towards them should be that which is very happy, healthy, joyful. Because a person, an individual, a child who is given love and respect grows out to be a more confident child. That is what I feel. So, irrespective of the fact that you have a boy or a girl, treat them as loving individuals, and consider yourself lucky that God has chosen you to raise that particular child, and do the best that you can. Whatever you are sowing now, you shall reap when their children grow up. So, so very, very wisely, so that you reap, the best fruit out of it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That is beautifully put. And thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us for this
My
session
pleasure,
today.
Vani. I don't know whether I've been able to come up to your expectations or not, but then that is what I feel. Children are
No,
children, treat them as gifts of God, and love them unconditionally. And
definitely.
no child is wrong. Whenever they say ki, this child is wrong, I say the child is never wrong. It's we, the people around the child, who probably went wrong in raising this particular child. So children are never wrong. It's we, the people, who could be wrong.
Yeah, ma'am. So thank you so much. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. We have these
Thank you to all
sessions.
the viewers.
We have these sessions every Friday, so please do join us next week as well. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bye bye. Pleasure. Bye bye.